What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Bookmine Academy. In today's video, Victor and I are going to show you how you can source 10 books per day on Bookmine the easiest way possible. But before we get into it, what's going on, Victor?
Hey, Georgie, we're going to make it easy for you guys, right? So hopefully you guys will be able to get 10 books really quickly and then go on 'em, with the rest of your day. And so, yeah, we decided to make this video to make it as simple as possible for for all you guys to source books.
Yep.
Let's do it.
The reality of it is, if you can buy 10 books per day and you can build that consistency, really that's all that is needed over a somewhat long period of time, not even really that long of a period of time, to get yourself to six figures per year. It's a really necessary skill that you need to build into being a bookseller. So let's start off with tip number one. The first thing that you should do is actually source at least three times uh, throughout the day. So three different times. It's not like it has to be like clockwork, like it always has to be 8 AM and noon and 4 PM. It just means like have multiple sourcing sessions. So don't just say I'm only gonna log in once a day, like log in multiple times a day. And why would you say logging in during different times throughout the day? Let's say three times throughout the day, Victor. Why would that be so helpful?
Yeah, just multiple opportunities, right? So different repricers happen at different times of the day. There are people that going in and repricing their books just randomly, and so you don't know when specifically a book is going to drop in price. But it's if you happen to show up three times, you're increasing your odds. Right? And you only show up once, then you're just basically going to get whatever is happening at that exact moment, but not more than that. So if you show up three times, you're definitely increasing your odds, and you have a higher chance of getting to 10 books pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Tip number two is to
Yeah.
force yourself to look at more than just one page. Here on Bookmine Victor, you'll see that there'll always be 25 results, right? This will say 1 to 25 of currently 4,000 books that Bookmine has found. And oftentimes people who reach out to us say, hey, maybe they're not able to find the books that they need. We'll ask them, well, how many books did you go through? They're like, I only looked at like page one or page two. But Victor, really, you should be forcing yourself to be looking at multiple pages. So have multiple times throughout the day where you're looking and then go through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages. Like, because think about this, Victor, you got 4,000 results. You have 4,000 books that came back this hour. If you're only looking at page one, you're looking at a very small percentage of those books, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think that once they get past, like, say, page 2, then the deals are old, but not on Bookmine, right? We probably are up to maybe 1,000 books that are refreshed and brand new, from Bookmine within that last hour. So it's really good to actually go through as many pages as you need to get to 10, as possible. Like, the first 50 is literally within the first couple of minutes, and you could get much
Yeah.
past that point, right? To actually find some really good deals. So
Yeah.
don't just stop at 50. Keep looking. You're going to find a lot of good books in there.
The reality, Victor, is that if you're looking at multiple pages, it means you're looking at more books. And if you're looking at more books, it means you have more opportunities to find great books. So,
Exactly.
really important tip
Good
there.
point.
Tip number three is you can use little tricks if you need it to help you get to 10 books per day. Something that I did years ago that really helped me out that I actually found from a book was taking something physical, tangible in front of me to help me get to my goal. So I had a little glass jar, which I don't have now because I actually ended up moving. That's why my background's different. But I had a little glass jar that I put here on my desk and I put 10 quarters in it. Or actually, I put 10 quarters on the side of it. And so every day I'd wake up, my goal would be to move each of those 10 quarters into the glass jar. And so whenever I bought a book, Victor, I would just take one of those quarters, boop, plop it there in the glass jar and make a little sound, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
would just try to move, you know, 10 from the table to the glass jar. And then at the end of the day, I would dump it out and I'd just do the same thing. It was just a reminder every single day that this is a goal. This is something that is a priority for me. So if that's something you want to do, I think it could be very helpful as well.
Yeah, no, I had something very similar where I was determined to buy 30 books a day, and I wouldn't stop until I got to 30. So I would start out the day, usually buying 10 to 15 books, and then middle of the day, I also bought maybe 5 or 10, and then at the end of the day, whatever I needed left, I wouldn't go to sleep until I bought that last little bit to get to 30. So you have to have the determination to get to those higher numbers, but you can do it. And we practice what we preach here. I was also sourcing 3 times a day. So
The next incredibly helpful tip here is to have multiple different favorite sourcing filters or styles or techniques. What I mean by that is you may have one way that you enjoy using Bookmine. One way that you might enjoy using Bookmine, Victor, might be to say, hey, as soon as you log in, you always just move the profit meter from 3 to 7. Or when you log in, you might automatically go to book type and go to high school. the point that I'm trying to make here is that if you can come up with 3 favorite sourcing techniques that are all different from each other, you have multiple angles to attack buying books from. So, all that means really is that you should be experimenting, and every single day that you're logging into Bookmine, try out different filters. You might try out one day, "Hey, I'm just gonna look at books that are in short supply today." And also there are gonna be books that are under, $22. How many people, Victor, on Bookmine are looking for books that are in short supply that are under $22? Probably very few. You might be the only
A
one targeting them.
handful or less. Yep.
Right. And so if you can come up with these 3 different favorite sourcing techniques that you really enjoy, that you always can find great books with, then when you do get stuck, you're like, all right, well, plan A didn't work. Let's go to plan B. And plan B is also good. And so maybe you buy all your books from plan B today, and then maybe plan C tomorrow you buy your books from. Anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, I love finding like little hacks like that, right? Where these are things I like to source with. One of them, like you said, was the profit meter. That's a great one. I also sometimes like to look just at the lowest ever because if the price happens to be the lowest ever that it's ever been, yeah, definitely let's go check those out. And that's 477 books right now. That the price is as lower than it's ever been. These are books that really help me get to that 10 even faster. And so that's another like a good tip there. Another one tends to be with a used price, bringing that down to say 10 or $15 and then source that way.
Yep.
But any of these little things like that, whichever is your favorite, you should like focus in on 2 or 3 of those to get to your 10 books.
Yep. So there you go. Books that are between
Yep.
11 and 16, you got 1,000 books that way. I mean, a very simple way is just to go by Bookmine score, show me anything that's 7 to 10. So if you get stuck with any one of these, like let's say your go-to is Bookmine score and you always go, 7 to 10, and that's one of your favorite sourcing techniques. Well, guess what? If it's not working out, then you can go to number 2. And like we said, maybe number 2 is I like profit meter at 3 or higher. Well, guess what? Maybe that's not working out. Like Victor said, you go lowest ever. It's like always wanting to move around,
Yeah.
try to find opportunities. There's 4,000 books. Like we just mentioned earlier, it's even if you go through 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 pages, you're not even going to look at most of the books that have been found this
Right.
hour. And that's the goal is you want the most repetitions. You want to look at the most possible books you can because the best deals will be glaring at you, right? They'll be popping out there where you can easily see them. And so it's just a matter of looking at the most books in the least amount of time. The next tip to help you get to 10 books per day is actually to go to your orders page on Amazon. And, as a bookseller, every day you should be logging into Amazon to see what sells. I mean, that's the funnest part of what we do is like, whoa, that book that I bought actually sold. Well, it turns out, Victor, that a small percentage of the books that you sell, you could actually just buy that same day as a replen because it's at a purchase price where if you were to have bought it and then sold it at the price you sold it today, you made money on it. And I do this all the time. I know you do this all the time where
Yeah.
every day I'm buying books that I just sold today. And so all we're saying is, again, that's another opportunity. Hey, you happen to sell a book for $47 today? Well, guess what? It's $12 on Amazon. Well, go buy that book again. You have data to say they can sell for 47. Do it again. Any other things you want to talk about there?
No, no, exactly right, Joji. I buy at least 3 to 4 books a day of just repeats, books that I've already
Yeah.
just sold today, and I'm gonna rebuy them again. And very similar, just like you said, they happen because say for instance, my a high school book is now sold in like March. Well, if
Yep.
one of my high school books is selling in March, it's definitely time to go buy it again because we're not even in the season and somehow sold. So definitely go buy that book and stuff like that is happening all the time. So that's another quick way to get to 10 books.
Yeah, because right off the bat, that could knock off 2, 1,
Yep.
2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And sometimes you can buy multiple copies of books as well. So
Right.
it's a great way to reduce the total number of books that you need and to help you get closer to 10.
Right.
Next huge tip I have for you. If you're on Bookmine or you're struggling getting to 10 books per day, just walk away. All I mean by that is if you're looking at the feed, you're looking at a couple pages, you're not finding anything, you're frustrated. Well, guess what? Do you think you're going to be a better bookseller when you're frustrated and you're out there hoping to find deals? Or do you think you're going to be a better bookseller when you come back refreshed, when Bookmine is updated and you have whole new books and you have a fresh mindset and you went for a walk, or you played with your dogs, or you hung out with your family? Obviously, that's the better route. And Victor and I both
Yeah.
practice this.
Oh,
We can go
definitely.
on Bookmine, try to find some books. We didn't find any. Well, guess what? Bookmines get updated every single hour, regardless of whether or not we're there. So we might as well walk away. Come back.
Oh, yeah. I implement that all the time. If I'm not in the right mindset, If I don't think that I'm gonna find any books, I usually don't, right? Because I'm not in the feeling good or happy at that moment. So it's better to walk away instead of constantly looking at books you're just not gonna buy and come back at a later time and then start sourcing. So yeah, great tip.
Yeah. Next tip I have for you is you can buy multiple copies of an individual book. It's not like we say you need 10 unique titles. There are some books out there that are such great deals where you could buy up all of the copies that are profitable, and there might only be 3 or 4 copies. And if you buy 3 or 4 copies, guess what? You're 30 or 40% done with your day just on those books. Now, one thing that I will say here, Victor, is probably you're going to want to be buying multiple copies of like seasonal books
Yeah.
or books that you think have a high winning percentage. Do you wanna talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah. So what I tend to find is like seasonal books have a great opportunity to purchase multiple copies of them at a really steep discount, like when it's off season, right? So right now we're like almost in the beginning of February. You're gonna find some really good deals on high school books. You're gonna be able to buy a lot of these high school books for maybe like 70, 80% off. So you go back to go look at what the August season has for that book, how many sales are actually happening, and then go and buy a good part of that season. Like if that book says say it sells for a couple hundred times during that season, it's time to go and buy at least 5 to 10 copies of that book. And so if you buy 5 to 10 copies, you're either 50% or 100% of the way there just by buying that one book.
Yeah, that's a great point. I buy multiple copies of books. Often I've bought 20, 30, 40 copies
Yeah,
of, particular books. Generally, you buy more copies of seasonal books because of increased demand, but
yeah,
even all year round books, there are books that I've bought, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 copies of just niche all year round books just with one go. So that certainly helps you get your numbers higher because it's much easier to have, you know, to sell 4 or 5,000, total books rather than unique books, if that makes sense in a given
yeah.
year.
And so since you guys stayed with us this long, there's actually the Ways of the World, the AP version, just came out, I think in 2021. That's a book I would definitely buy 30 copies of. So if you need to buy books for the next 3 days and you want to go on vacation for 3 days, go go log in, buy 30 copies, and you're done for the next 3 days because that book is definitely can hold 30 copies or even more. So
Yeah,
that's a good
that
tip for
book
you
is
guys.
amazingly, the last couple years
Yeah,
and projected to do very well this year as well.
exactly.
Okay. The final tip here is if you're somebody who is focusing on all year round books and maybe you don't do seasonal books, or maybe even the reverse, on Bookmine, force yourself every day to at least look at seasonal books. So let me show you how to do that. We're over here on Bookmine. The easiest way to do this is simply just to come over here to book type, and every single day, just click high school only or click college only. In this case, I'll just say high school only because high school textbook season is coming up here, not too far in the future. Force yourself every single day to just click on high school because guess what? There's going to be books that are high school books that are great deals, and if you don't select that, you may not see great deals that you can buy today. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Uh, so I usually pick high school books. I also look at winter books, especially if we're not in the winter, right? We're actually there's some really great winter books there, some great high school books. Right now, I probably wouldn't look at the college books, but this is also another great way to find your 10 books that you need for the day.
Yep. Another great book here, the Reader's Digest Merry Christmas Song Book, which does well every single year. Another book here, the Gingerbread's First Christmas, $7 all in ship.
Yep.
Looks like it doesn't really get that low the entire year. Looks like it was selling at least in the 20s at the lowest price, probably close to 30 or 40 in the buy box. So just another great tip there. Our goal, Victor, is to help you all get to 10 books per day. If you practice all of these things that we talked about, it actually is quite easy to get there.
Yeah. We're trying to make it as easy and as fast as possible
Yep.
for you guys. And that's what we do with Bookmine. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And the reason why we're stressing this point so hard, the 10 books per day, is because you need consistency if you want long-term results. If you want to be someone who's buff, or you want to be someone who loses weight, or you want to be very good at any particular sport, guess what, Victor? You got to show up and you got to do the work every single day,
Hey,
right? And so
be
you want to be a
consistent.
bookseller? Guess what? You
Yeah.
got to buy books every single day. You got to buy 10 books every single day. So hope this video helped you out. If it did, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're not already. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
You guys there.